Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben's award-winning podcast, as voted by Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and listeners. So if you're new to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, listen back to all our previous episodes, sit back, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's episode. Hello and welcome back to Gardening with Ben. Well, it's Thursday and we have been down on the allotment again today, just before I start my night shifts for the next 4 nights, so I probably won't be down on the allotment for the next 4 days at least. So what have we been doing today? I hope you enjoy these updates on what I've been up to down on the plot, because I do like sharing what I've been getting up to and how well it's coming on. So today we have been finishing my strawberry bed area, as that has taken a lot longer than I thought of, because there has been that many weeds, bindweed growing around there, repairs what have been needed to get the fence back up, because I'm rubbish at woodwork and I keep saying that. But yeah, the fence is back up temporarily at least. So I've separated my plot from the neighbour's plot again, and we've got all that sorted, so we have been getting that back up. I've still got to get it all painted and some repairs done to the fence to fill in some gaps and to make it look a bit neater and tidier, but that is a job for another day. It's not a rush, it's not a job that needs doing critically. My jobs at the moment is more about clearing the plot up and getting it tidy. It's not aesthetically to make it looking fantastic at the moment. The main thing is getting my plot done, and then I'll concentrate on doing all the painting and any tittifying to my plot. So that is one job later on down the line. But now I've done that strawberry area, I can officially start my main plot area, and that consists of about 18 to 21 beds, I think it is. So hopefully it should only take a few weeks to get that done, but if we can spend all February doing it, that doesn't really matter, because March and April time I can spend doing some new areas, making my improvements to my shed, or I can be extending my plot a bit further and painting it all. And yeah, those are all the jobs I can do then, because the quicker I get it tidied and back to how it should look, then I can do any improvements that actually need doing to the plot. So that is where we're at with that. And yesterday obviously I was sorting out all my new rose cuttings. I was potting on the rose cuttings that had taken root, so I'm looking forward to growing them. I even had a look at one of my climbing roses, what I purchased the other week from the supermarket, and that has started getting buds on it, so that's quite a good sign. I'm pleased about that, because I did buy some cheap the other year. They'd been reduced and quite a few of them didn't take, whether they were actually dead, but these ones are obviously fresh into the supermarkets and they're alive and ready to be growing. So I'm pleased that they're actually taking, and I keep giving them a drink of water. Yes, we are in winter and it is wet weather, but we've not had a lot of rain at the moment, so I keep giving them a drink of water just to help get them rooted and get them into the ground and growing. So that is that really. So in today's podcast we're going to talk about getting the children involved in gardening, because I feel that it's a very important topic to talk about really, because if you've got children or if you've got grandchildren, and it's great to encourage them to learn about gardening. And thankfully I had the chance to learn with my dad. In our area, our allotment site was derelict, and the council said that it needs to come back into life again, or they'll get rid of them, because there was only one plot holder left on the site. All the rest of the site had gone derelict, and the community got together and got them all cleared, got them all tidied, got funding to get roads in, and make the allotments back to how they should look. And there was letters sent out in all the community to get people signed up to these allotments and get them started and involved, and the council cleared them all and made them all look good and get it all started again. And my dad was one of these people who came forward to put his name down to take on an allotment, and I must have been about 12 at the time, and I always used to go up and help my dad on his plot. I used to have my own little areas, I used to plant my seeds, and I used to start growing them, and that's how I got into gardening. And I encourage the same. If you've got children or grandchildren, take them up for an hour at least and just let them have a go at digging over some areas of soil. Obviously make sure that they've got gloves on, or you're keeping an eye on them just in case there's glass and stuff around in the soil, but always make sure you keep an eye on them. But let them have their own little area on your allotment or in the garden, just to try growing some vegetables and even some flowers, because sunflowers are great to grow with children. And the more you encourage the children to get into gardening, the more they will learn about growing fresh produce and how good organic food and vegetables are. And it might take 3 times as long to sow your seeds while you're showing your children what to do and getting them involved, but it's all the joy of them learning, and hopefully when they get older they will get back into it and they will have their own vegetable garden or allotment in years to come, and they will keep passing on this tradition of growing your own vegetables. And obviously back in the war days, growing their own vegetables used to be a massive thing, and it seemed to wind away a bit, but now it seems to be picking back up again, and people are wanting to grow their own fruit and vegetables again, and it's getting quite popular and trendy. And obviously now we've got all this social media, people are sharing photos of what they've grown and what produce they've grown, because it's fun and exciting. And especially during the lockdown periods, the first lockdown, all the hardware stores had sold out of seeds of everything, because everybody wanted to go at growing it and enjoying it, and it got it back popular, and the council waiting lists were massive. And I know ours was certainly massive because they weren't letting them out during the coronavirus period, and then once coronavirus period stopped, then they started letting them back out again. But the waiting lists are phenomenal around our area for plots again, and there were always plots vacant on our site for sure for years, but the site is full again, and it's great to see so many people coming down and enjoying it, and especially when new people take on allotments, because I introduce myself. I don't say I'm gardening with Ben. I don't want them to know that I'm a massive blogger, not just yet anyway. But I introduce myself and I share a few tips with them, giving them advice. I tell them of any issues in the area and tell them where my allotment is, and if they need any help with anything, I'm always around to help. And if I've got any spare plants, I'll give them some as well, because it's great to welcome new people onto your site. It's great to build friendships with other people. And I was saying this the other day, that when I'm down on my allotment, sometimes I'll disappear after a couple of hours, but if my neighbours come down on their plots, then it encourages me to stay longer, because there's other people down there, and it encourages me to get doing more and to stay that little bit longer, because it's good to have company down on the site. I know it's nice to be in your own space, but it's great to have company down on the plot. So if you're wanting to start growing vegetables with children and stuff like that, ideal ones to try growing with them maybe some lettuce or marrows and courgettes, because them seeds are nice and big and they can grab hold of them and plant them easy. Same goes for pumpkins. They can get hold of the seed and plant them themselves, whereas some are quite tiny and delicate. It's hard for them to get hold of and sow them evenly, especially the very small ones. They wouldn't be able to do that as easy, so it's good to try them with bigger seeds first and let them have a go at planting them and getting along with them. Like I said, let them have a go at growing sunflowers as well, because sunflower seeds are really easy to pick up, and they can space them out in individual pots, and they can get them all planted themselves and enjoy it. So yeah, if you've got children, grandchildren, take them down to the allotment or take them in the garden. Encourage them to start growing this year. Get them their own little children's trowel or fork and stuff like that, just so that they can have a dig around and get some roots out, and even make it into a competition and see how many weeds you can pull out in an hour. And then it'll get them excited and interested in trying to beat that challenge, and seeing how far they can get with growing their own stuff. So yeah, I definitely do encourage children to learn how to garden, and if they could teach it in schools, I would be so pleased about that. Some schools get quite involved in this and get doing this. They've got their own little raised bed areas, but if it was on the curriculum, I would absolutely love it, because it doesn't take long to learn children how to garden and stuff like that. They can go out and water the plants and get some fresh air and be outside enjoying it all. So yeah, I definitely encourage learning children how to garden, even if it's a niece or nephew as well. Any child that's related in your family, get them down, get them involved, and get them sowing, and even have competitions to see who can grow the biggest sunflower, like I've done in the past. And it's all good fun, and they'll definitely taste the rewards from what they have grown. So yeah, that has been today's gardening podcast. If you're new to this podcast channel, make sure you do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. And please do leave a review. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a written review, or if you're listening on Spotify, you can leave a star rating, and it does help my podcast get seen more if you do leave a review. So thank you for that, people that have done that. So yeah, that has been today's podcast. So until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. Feel free to share them on your Instagram stories so that it spreads the word about my podcast and we get lots more listeners. Feel free to check out my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram as well, Gardening with Ben, and also my YouTube channel, to stay up to date with all my handy videos, how-to videos, and sharing my tips and advice. And feel free to check the link as well in the description for my Gardening with Ben t-shirts. Lots of funny gardening design t-shirts in there for you to purchase at great prices too. So thanks again, and as always, remember, keep smiling and keep gardening.